Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Casual Sundays on Cash Flow. This is basically the series where I talk a little more informally and talk about a lot more of my personal experience and my thoughts on things related to financial independence and personal finance in general. And one thing that I really want to touch on today is you need to focus on FI and not RE. So we have the FIRE community, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. But really, what I am mostly all about is the first two letters, FI, financial independence. Financial independence is a lot more important than just retiring early. And that is the kind of mindset that you need to develop. Just because you become financially independent, it doesn't mean you have to stop working altogether. Yes, the retire early is in there, but really what it actually means is retiring from required work or work where you're not in control. The FI part, becoming financially independent, it just opens up a ton of more options for you. And one of those options could be changing jobs. One of those options could be starting your own business. Or one of those options could be traveling the world. Because financial independence comes in many different shapes and sizes. There are many different kinds of financial independence, and you need to find which financial independence is going to work best for you. The whole point is becoming the master of your own cash flow, becoming more in control of your life, and becoming financially independent or just becoming financially savvy and having those options is going to open up an entire new world to you that people who are living paycheck to paycheck, even if they are making a really high income, they don't have. They don't have that freedom. They are locked in. They are, going around the hamster wheel. Whereas if you are pursuing financial independence, even if you are not already there and completely financially independent, you have so many options. Let's say your financial independence goal is $1 million, so that you can utilize the 4% rule and live off of $40,000. Well, if you have $500,000, imagine how much freedom you have just by being halfway towards your goal. Imagine how much freedom you have. And most people, if they lost their job, they would be devastated. It would be an incredibly rough time for them because they were living paycheck to paycheck. But if you're on the path towards financial independence, you've probably already reduced your expenses to a minimum amount. You've already saved up maybe a good amount of money if you've been doing it for a couple of years. And just by having that $500,000, yeah, you're not financially independent completely by definition, but how much security does that offer you? How much freedom does that offer you? Even if you somehow did lose your job or lost your income, you could easily bounce back from that. And that's just a big part. You need to focus on becoming financially independent and not necessarily just retiring early. Because financial independence comes in many different shapes and forms, you don't have to just go for the 25 times your annual expenses. There are many different kinds of financial independence. You could become barista fire. And barista fire basically just means where you work a part-time job. You could work a part-time job and have your other expenses supplemented with, a large amount of investments that you've gained up. You could shoot for coast fire, where you save a lot of money now, and then you go and work into a field that maybe you want to work in, maybe make a lower income, but it's enough to just support your spending. And then meanwhile, all that money you built up while you were maybe in a higher paying job, that money just compounds and compounds over the years. And then eventually when you get to closer to a more traditional retirement age, you have a lot more money than what you would possibly need because it's had all those years to compound. And that's what Coast Fire is all about. And by the way, I've made videos on both of those topics before, just kind of explaining them more in detail. So if you're interested, you can go to my channel and check those out. And there are many other examples of financial independence. You could take mini retirements. Mini retirements means basically where you just maybe take a year off or take 6 months off of work, regardless of whether your employer wants you to do so, because you have those options, especially if you've saved up a good sum of money. Even if you're not completely financially independent, you don't have that $1 million, but you do have $500,000. You can still take a year off, no sweat, and come back. Probably find a new job in the same field that you were in before. And really, a new employer might be impressed by the fact that you took a year to travel the world. They might be intrigued by that and think of you as someone who goes after their goals. You never know. A lot of people, even in the financial independence community, are very worried. What if I run out of money, or what if I can't get a job before? And it's a very highly unlikely scenario, in my opinion. And of course, it's going to depend on your risk tolerance, which financial independence path is going to be right for you. But the point is, focus on financial independence. Don't necessarily focus on retiring early and never having to work again. That is a great concept to have. That's a great thing to have available to you, right? The theory of never having to work again or never having to earn another dollar. But the odds are, if you're a go-getter and if you're on the path to financial independence, you're probably going to make money somewhere down the line. If you retire at 40, you've got maybe another 40 plus years of your life left to live. And the odds are very high that you will make another dollar in those 40 years, even if you are technically financially independent and retired early. Because financial independence is about control over your time. You control your destiny. You control your time. You control your actions. The more control that you have over your own path, the better. And that is a big part about what this channel is about. On Cashflow is heavily dedicated towards financial independence. Not just financial independence, personal finance in general, saving money, investing, growing your net worth. That is what this channel is about. And if that's something that is interesting to you, if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, because I am putting out new information on personal finance and financial independence every single week. And I want to help you. I want to be able to give you something that can change your life. And if you are liking this particular video, it would really help me out if you just give me that thumbs up, give me the like on YouTube. It helps me out and it motivates me to keep making these videos for you. But getting back to it, retire early. That is a part of FIRE, right? That is a part of the FIRE community, the retire early part. But really, retirement, it has kind of a negative connotation to it. If you look up the traditional sense, like the traditional what retire means, it means to cease working, like to stop working forever. And I think for most of us, I'm speaking for myself and probably for a lot of other people in the FIRE community, that is not necessarily the number one goal. The number one goal is not to just never work again. The number one goal is to be in control and to open your options up. Sometimes you can do something that you really highly enjoy and still make a little bit of money for it. Whether it's, working with animals at an animal shelter, you can still make a small amount of money while doing that. Or maybe it's, coaching youth basketball after school. You can make a small stipend from that. Whatever it may be. Just because you're in the FIRE community doesn't mean you have to stop working forever. So that is usually the number one thing that people who are against FIRE, that's the number one thing that they say. Well, you're not really financially independent, you're not really retired early because you still work 10 hours a week, or you have your own online business, so you're really just self-employed. And maybe that's true when it comes to the retire early part. Maybe you're not retired, but who cares? Because most of these people who are saying things like that, first off, they don't understand, and second, they're not as willing to put in the work and make the sacrifices to gain a better life. So when someone talks about, being financially independent, retiring early isn't really retiring early, maybe they're right. But who cares? Focus on financial independence. Just do what you really want to do, whether that is starting a business. If you have a large amount in investments saved up, then you have the opportunity to start a low-cost business. You have that opportunity with very little risk involved over the long run. If you want to work part-time, just so you can, have a little bit more of a schedule, but still have a lot more free time, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with working 20 hours a week, supplementing your investments? Or even maybe possibly if it's a more lucrative part-time job, just paying for your expenses while your investments are still growing. What's wrong with that? How about working in a passionate job? Like I said before, if you're passionate about working with animals, or you're passionate about, volunteering overseas, or you're passionate about, working with children, what is stopping you from doing that when you are focusing on financial independence? And the same goes with working seasonally. If you're financially independent, maybe you can work during tax season doing a tax job, or you can work during the Christmas season when a lot of businesses need seasonal help. It doesn't matter. You're still focusing on financial independence. And that is the main concept that I want to get through to you today. Focus on keeping your options open. Do what you enjoy. Focus on financial independence when you're on this path. Join me on this path. I am on the path to financial independence. And if you're interested in becoming financially independent, then definitely make sure you like and subscribe to this video. And if you need more guidance, I made a really good video. If you haven't watched it already, it should pop up right next to me about how to become financially independent. And those are the basic core concepts that everyone needs to know. And even I like to go over those core concepts every once in a while to make sure that it is ingrained in my brain, because when you're focused on FI, you can achieve anything. Thank Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.